Hi everyone, it's Carolyn from In the Gray, and I was just wanting to come on and show marinating my eggplant for eggplant jerky. I know around this time of year a lot of folks are trying to get in shape, eat healthier. This makes a fantastic snack. So I think it comes out for a long strip like this. I think I read it's like 37 calories or something like that. So I'm going to actually slice it this way since I have this nice mandolin. And then we're just going to take our eggplant, bring it down. So we're getting nice, pretty good size thickness in the eggplant. This is, you want to make sure that you wash the skin since you're going to be eating the skin also. You want to make sure that's nice and clean. There are a lot of pesticides. I'm just going to get rid of this piece. A lot of pesticides and things that are used on commercial crops. I'm actually going to be growing eggplant for the first time this year, so I will likely share my experience with that. Growing up, I didn't eat a lot of eggplant. My family didn't eat a lot of eggplant, but I have had some fantastic Greek food that is eggplant. Obviously, there's eggplant parmesan. If you have not tried that, you should. And then I recently found this eggplant jerky. The last batch I made was really delicious. It looks more like jerky than it does taste like jerky. It's really dried eggplant. So we're just gonna go ahead and call that good. And I'm actually doing 2. Now we're gonna go ahead and mix up our marinade. So because we have such a large quantity, we're gonna need about a cup of olive oil. Now I shop at an Olive Ovation, which is in here in St. Louis, and they have really high quality olive oil. You can taste it, and the staff there is very knowledgeable about the olive oils, where they come from in the world, how they're harvested. A lot of oils these days are imitation oils that you find in the grocery store. So you want to make sure you use a nice high quality olive oil. And we're going to need 1 cup. So we're going to take that, put that in our bowl, 1 cup of olive oil. Just get a I'm gonna make sure to get all of that goodness. Okay, so we're gonna take our 1 cup of olive oil. I just have this blackberry balsamic. This is an aceto balsamic platinum, also from a place I got here locally. Not as big of a fan, but it's got a little bit more of that tartness that I am looking for. So we need 8 tablespoons of balsamic. We're going to need 4 tablespoons of maple syrup. And then we're going to need, let me scrape this. And then we're going to need paprika. I have mine in the jar. 1 teaspoon of paprika. And then salt, good old coarse kosher salt. And I'm just going to measure out a little and add that in. Anytime that you're drying things, you're going to want to incorporate salt. It aids in the drying process. So we're just going to mix that until you have a nice, thick, I hope you all can see, marinade. So now what we're going to do is, I've got this pan. I'm going to go ahead and dip each one of these eggplant slices in here to make sure it is on there. And then I'm just going to lay them here in this pan. Okay, so we have this cling film, cellophane, whatever you want to call it. And just go ahead and cover that. We're going to put it in the refrigerator for a few hours, and then we'll be back to put it on the dehydrator. It is time to put our eggplant jerky on the dehydrator. So I ended up letting mine marinate for about a day. It doesn't really hurt anything to let it marinate a little longer. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to take the eggplant, put it on the dehydrator trays. We're going to set it to 115 degrees. Now, if you don't have a dehydrator, you can use the oven at a very low temperature to do it. You might not get as low a temperature as you want, so it might turn out a little bit differently. But we're shooting for 115 degrees. My dehydrator is a Nesco Garden Master, and so I have a digital screen where I can select the temperature and the amount of hours that I want it drying. I think we got this on a Facebook Marketplace or a garage sale. So keep an eye out for those things. A lot of people buy dehydrators, don't end up using them like they think they will. So first things first, I'm going to be using these trays. Now these are Nesco Clean-A-Screen. Okay, I got these on Amazon. These are a mesh tray so that air can still move through, but it makes cleaning up these trays a lot easier. Now unfortunately I only have one that fits this large dehydrator, but I do have some smaller ones which will partially fit on that. Now if you're going to be dehydrating something for a very long term storage, so if you're doing your herbs, apple chips, whatever it may be, you want to make sure that you put on some kind of protection for your hands. Even if you have clean hands, which I do, there are still oils on your skin that can get onto the food, and any kind of oil can go rancid. So if you're looking to store some herbs for a few years, you might want to consider putting some kind of protection on your hands. So I'm not going to do that because this is going to be eaten up pretty quickly. And so what we need, I put some wax paper down on the counter so that anything that might drip through doesn't get onto the counter. I have some kosher salt that I'm going to be putting on our eggplant slices. And then in the bottom of the dehydrator, there are different kinds of trays that you can get. This one's a solid, to where if you're going to make a fruit roll-up or a fruit leather, this is the kind of tray you use. I'm just going to put it on the bottom just to keep any of those drips from getting on the bottom tray of my dehydrator. So we're going to start just by putting our mesh on here, and then we're going to lay each one. You want to make sure that you aren't having them touch. You can put them as close as you can together, but you don't want them touching. Okay, so we're back with our eggplant jerky. I have dehydrated for 12 hours and some change. I'm just going to take off the top. Now this is still, excuse me, this is still a little bit warm, so it's going to be a little bit more pliable, but that's what you want. That's what makes it chewy. So I'm going to go ahead and let these cool, and then I will bag them up for us to enjoy. You see, that was 2 eggplants. It didn't make that much. So I hope you enjoyed this video on making eggplant jerky. I hope that you consider growing eggplant and that you consider preserving it and enjoying it this way.